What is going on, everyone? Welcome back on Block Gems. I'm Marco, and today I want to talk about raffles or drawings on Nifty Gateway. But before we jump into the content, guys, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It helps me so much keep the content coming. And by the way, guys, thank you for your support. It has been an awesome ride so far. So let's jump right in. We have seen this weekend how successful People has been by presenting this exhibition, Spring Summer Collection 2021. We've seen some crazy phenomenons in the NFT market relating to this exhibition. And one of the things that we also covered in this channel and that we consider the most important aspects was that not all the pieces were auctioned. Some of them were distributed via drawing. And this was because people wanted to also distribute these pieces to a broader audience that were not just the top 1%er of the crypto space or of the NFT holders in general. However, the odds of getting your hands on one of these pieces were, I should say, really small. For instance, for Giga Chad, we are looking at odds that were in the neighborhood of 1 in 1,000 because they were actually only 75 the pieces that were placed in this drawing. And if we look also at the returns, they were literally as crazy. This is for the amount that this piece is trading at right now in the secondary market. Now, we should ask ourselves, is this the typical behavior of drawings on Nifty Gateway? And the answer is no. Of course, People is an outlier, and we have seen that he has been an outlier also in previous works, in previous exhibitions, in terms of returns, in terms of the price points that delivered in the secondary market. And so what is representative? What is happening actually whenever you enter the average or the typical drawing on Nifty Gateway? So one thing that I wanted to discuss first of all is that in some cases, and this doesn't happen in all cases, but in some cases, say 10% of cases, you don't even have enough entries to satisfy the number of pieces that were into that edition. In other words, there were more pieces available than people that wanted to buy them, which is exactly the opposite that we saw for the People drawing. Again, this doesn't happen all the time. This doesn't happen in the majority of cases, but sometimes it does happen, say 10% of the cases. At least for the month of April and for the editions that I have personally looked at. And of course, when this happens, it doesn't take a genius to understand it. The price points are absolutely destroyed in the secondary market. So basically, collectors that bought from the primary market see a lot of depreciation in terms of value, in terms of the price of what they bought in the secondary market if they look at how much is trading right now. And this happens time and time again whenever there is not enough demand, wherever the amount of collectors that were willing to pay for the good were less than the amount of goods produced. But there is also another part of the story, which is the complete opposite part. And it is what happens whenever you have an astonishing amount of entries compared to the amount of pieces that were available. And this is one interesting case. This is Chaos by Ellison Gray from the duo Alex Gray and Ellison Gray. We had 33 pieces and something in the neighborhood of 27,000 entries. This is about 1 in 800, which is not too far from the numbers or the odds that we saw in the People exhibition just yesterday. However, if we go look at the price points, we are nowhere near the price points of People. And this is interesting because the demand is the same. The price point is the symbolic price point of $1 anyways. But the price in the secondary market is completely different. So there is something more here that is not to be found in this only the supply and demand dynamics. What is more interesting is that one of the works by people, specifically this one here, the Lot 101, had odds that were much more favorable than Chaos, the one that we just presented. And the price points that we're seeing here are not even comparable. So it is true, by and large, that when you have a number of entries that are 2 orders of magnitudes away from the number of pieces available, you're looking at almost guaranteed returns and very phenomenal returns. However, the difference that there could be there is also massive, despite the fact that the ratios between the entries and the pieces available could be similar, could be very similar, could be the same. So, as mentioned, there is something more that we should understand from the narratives, that it's not just implying the supply and the demand. Now, this is one point that I wanted to make. A second point that I wanted to make is about the potential returns that are implied into entering these raffles. Let's assume that you were to enter every single raffle and to win every single raffle from the 1st of April to the 21st of April this year. You would be looking at a return more or less in this neighborhood, or at least this is for the pieces that I have analyzed. I might come back on this value and correct it, but more or less this is the amount. Now, besides the fact that you would still be better off buying Ethereum in terms of returns, this value is flawed because, as mentioned just now, it implies that you were winning every single raffle. You were selected from every single drawing, which is, as we see, not really the case. And most importantly, it is very easy to get your hands on some pieces that nobody wants, as we saw for this case here. And it's very, very hard to put your hands on a piece that everybody wanted to get. So, what does this tell us? It tells us that on average, at least for me, if my goal is to make money in this market, I don't really think it is beneficial to enter just any drawing, to just enter any raffle for the sake of it. If anything, I would want to enter only those that had already shown a crazy amount of demand during the raffle itself. So I see this number going up like crazy. I want to enter to benefit of the positive optionality that this raffle might give me, but the optionality that is attached to a name such as Alex Gray and Ellison Gray, if you want to calculate it, what are the expected returns, what are the expected value as of now of this kind of bet with this kind of returns, and you want to calculate it, you can see that they are in the neighborhood of cents of the dollars. That the value of your entry, of your ticket in this raffle, of this lottery ticket, is valued at cents if you do the math. But this is not the same, it's not the same story when you look at blue chip artists. Because when it comes to blue chip artists, the expected value of this bet tends to be higher. So personally, what I will do in the upcoming weeks is to look at the names that will be presented, look at the raffles and see how much demand there is, and to try to take advantage of this positive optionality by entering these raffles, but not for every single one, or not for every single one that just boasts a lot of entries, but only in the cases where also the name is a blue chip name. This is what I will personally do. This is not investment advice, but this is what I will personally do. And this is because there is this asymmetry in the market that is rewarding much more the participation in the drawings for big names, for blue chip names, compared to other smaller names, even when on paper the amount of demand or the ratio between the entries and the pieces is identical or very, very similar. So guys, please, if you enjoyed this analysis, if you think it added some value, or if you think it served as a sort of education for you in the space, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. I hope that this was somehow useful to you. If that is the case, thank you very much and see you in the next video.